it has been quite the season for Kansas basketball. And what did that game tell you about what your team might be when it's all said and done?
Well, Trey, I can tell you're a fan. Jeez, of the
he's
Bears.
alumni.
I didn't realize that.
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
Well, you've been proud of your place because that place was jumping Saturday, and I personally think they're terrific. We played them twice. They handled us once at our place, and our guys were pretty jacked going down there, and certainly played at a pretty high level. It was a high level game. Certainly played by two good teams, but I do think for us, obviously, it keeps us in the league race because right now that just got us back to a tie, But moving forward, I hope we can build off of it and know that regardless of who we're playing against, if you hook up and guard and rebound, then you always got a chance because that's what happened the other day.
This year, Bill, we have seen so many top teams get knocked off week after week, spend a couple weeks there, get knocked off. Why do you think that has gone on this year?
I don't know. I actually in total agreement that there hasn't been great teams. I mean, great teams. There's just a whole bunch of good ones. But the way I see it, last year I don't know what it was. There were 40 guys or so from Power 5 conferences that declared and stayed in and did not get drafted. So you take that away from 70 schools or 80 schools, whatever it is, and that affects teams. I mean, we had one last year that did the same thing, and I just don't think that the teams were as good early, primarily because most teams were playing with younger guys because they had to, and now I do think the teams have gotten better because those younger guys have gotten a little bit older, and you look at a team like us and Baylor. We're the beneficiaries of some experience. Baylor's done a great job of getting old and staying old, so to speak. And fortunately for us this year, we've kind of done the same thing. So I do think that's a primary reason why the quality of play wasn't as good early and very inconsistent.
Kansas head coach Bill Self joining us now. Bill, it has been quite the season for Kansas basketball for a variety of reasons. It started with the NCAA allegations to begin. Then there was the scuffle with Susio da Silva being suspended for 12 games. He comes back in a few days. You get him back for the March 7th game against Texas Tech. What has it been like for this Kansas team dealing with all the things that they and you have had to deal with this year?
Well, actually, it hasn't been bad for the guys at all. I mean, our guys – none of our guys are impacted by the NCAA stuff or involved whatsoever. And certainly, we had a very embarrassing incident, obviously, in the K-State game at the very end of the game. Where both teams played a role in it, and so embarrassing. And it could have escalated into something really bad. Fortunately, it didn't, but it could have. And that to me has been the distraction for our players. It's not the NCAA stuff. It's that incident, and certainly, I told our guys, and we all agree. The only way we can kind of change the way that people may look at us at this moment is to have a platform where if you win enough, maybe they can watch us doing it the way that we do it, doing it a different way than what is perceived of how we do it, because your platform will be big enough to show people that. And so our guys have just been focusing on playing well, winning, getting better, and really blocking out the outside stuff, because the reality of it is one kid who I love made a horrible decision to pick up a stool, and he dropped it, but still made a horrible decision to do that, which escalated this whole thing. And so certainly that was a distraction, but our guys have worked through that. I think we've grown closer through it.
Bill, with that in mind, again, you play at Kansas State later on this week, and as I mentioned, you get D'Souza back for the March 7th game. Do you expect will there be any sort of extracurricular activities that may try and escalate there?
At K-State?
Yeah.
I wouldn't think so. Every time we go over there, I think there's potential to be involved in an atmosphere that gets intense. I mean, it's great. It's a rivalry game, and certainly their fans, their students always do a great job when they go over there. But it's still just a game. It's just competition. It's not life or death. And I think that the way the game ended our place will heighten the energy around the game. But I think the reality is both universities, both teams want the same thing, and that's to play a competitive game, do it with class, do it with sportsmanship, and just draw the line there, and then hopefully have some fun and let the best team walk out of there happy. But that's the way it should be, and I think that's the way it'll be.
We all know, Bill, it's not where you started, it's where you finish. So as teams are 27, 28, 29 games in, for you and how you coach your players, when do you need to be at tournament play level? When do you need to see that out of your players?
Well, I've always thought you wanted to play, start peaking in late February. That's what I've always thought. I think that we are doing that, but the reality of it is we've had some teams, that were playing really well and get knocked off early, and we had some teams that were struggling or limping in a little bit going in the tournament, and all of a sudden, get hot for 3 weekends, as we had a couple of years ago. So I don't know if there's an exact formula to it, but I think to be the most confident as a group, play your best ball going into March, even though it's before your league tournament starts or whatnot. I think that can give you the right momentum moving forward.
Bill, with all that being said, what does it say to you about your team that you are there right now, having gone through everything you've gone through this year? And obviously you had the win last night, but also the big win over Baylor and Waco, that this team might be peaking at the right time.
Well, I think we are. I think the thing about our team is, I don't know if you guys have really watched us play because you just probably watch Baylor all the time. But the thing about our team is we haven't always played well, but we kind of taken pride in making other teams play worse. So it's kind of like we've been a little bit better being bad than maybe our opponents have some, and I think that's a good formula for us because we're going to be inconsistent offensively shooting the ball.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For more sports and analysis, download the ESPN app, and live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus.